Welcome to 2 Minutes of Gaming, where we talk about the top video game topics of the month for 2 minutes at a time. I'm your host, Keenan, and today I'm joined by...
Justin. How are you doing, guys?
Oh, man. Blessed to be here. Thanksgiving, a lot of Black Friday sales, so we definitely want to get a little bit to that towards the end, but we want to start out with the topic of the month, the topic of maybe the year, and maybe our last time even talking about this, Google Stadia. And let me just say, this is a Google platform that we're on, so if this show randomly gets taken down, don't wonder why. But basically, Google Stadia hasn't been doing well. It released last week, and like I mentioned on this show when we first started, Google Stadia either is going to change the way we game, or it's just going to be completely ignored. And it's starting to actually be completely ignored. Some of the early supporters, the day ones, they actually are upset and they're wanting refunds. So, yep. Justin, my question to you is this, and I've been thinking about this a lot off the show as well. If you were the boss, you're the CEO of this project, Google Stadia, obviously Google wanted to enter the video game industry. How would you have done it? How would you have done it the same way? How would you, Google, enter the video game industry if you had to do it over again? Because it's not working the way this is set up now. 2 minutes on the clock. What do you think?
Okay, first things first, to answer your question, would I have started, how I would approach it? I would have definitely not done it this way, mainly because the cloud system, when it comes to gaming, yes, we've seen it with the PlayStation Now, it's still untested. I mean, it's still not at its perfection. So for you to try something that hasn't really been proven so successful, I would have just had a new console system. That's what I would have personally would have done. Introduced a new console system to the market and did it that way. And the fact that this thing has completely flopped, that they're charging you $60 for games that have been out way past its prime already, is just ridiculous. I don't understand the mindset of that. $60 for Rise of Tomb Raider when that's constantly on sale every other week on the PlayStation Store?
Yeah, every week.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, not to sorry to cut you off, but it's so true. You know what's funny? I've been watching a lot of old school documentaries on YouTube about the Sega CD, the Jaguar, believe it or not, 3DO, and it's so funny. People were beating these systems up, but you know what? These companies made sacrifices so the Sonys, Microsofts, Nintendo can learn from those companies' mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. Google did not learn anything from these companies, Mm-hmm. And yeah, and so if one thing that I noticed as well is that they are not using any blueprints from the past. If I were at Google, I would actually use, I know you're not a big Microsoft guy, Justin, but I would use Microsoft's Xbox blueprint. You got to think about it. I mean, Xbox, not Xbox One, but the first Xbox, the original, they came out, Bill Gates was on the stage, I think The Rock was on the stage. They got all these big names to come on the stage. But in addition to that, they had a strong IP like Halo, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of exclusives from developers like Sega and stuff that we knew about. So they brought us in with the games, but also, too, they brought us in with the power. I think Google, to recap, to finish this up, Google should have came out with the most powerful system that we've ever seen, and they should have came out with a couple exclusive games, and then got us hooked, and then a year in, they could have said, hey, we have this platform that you can use your phone, you can use your laptop, your iPhone, whatever, your tablets, and you can play those games that you already love seamlessly, not the other way around. So I could go on and on for days about this, but we're not going to get kicked off this platform. So anyway, okay, now back, speaking of Xbox, they had an amazing conference in Europe called the XO19. They showed a ton of exclusive games. I was really, honestly, Justin, I was really impressed. Not only that, they also showed the the Xcloud. I have the name over here. Yeah. So, which is really, I think it was Xcloud. Yeah, which is really, really cool. So, what's your thoughts on this conference in general, Justin? Were you impressed, or did you feel like Microsoft needed to do more? What do you think?
I think the Xcloud is, first of all, what Google Stadia was trying to be.
Yeah.
Being and the Xcloud looks like it's going to be the Netflix of gaming, the way you're just able to play. That I think was what Google Stadia was trying to do. As a Final Fantasy fan, I'm kind of hating that they get in 13 and some previous Final Fantasy games for it, while us PlayStation guys can't even get it on the PlayStation Store. That's just me. But yeah, I'm kind of hating on that aspect, but I'm happy for what it seems like Xbox is finally and Microsoft are finally going in the right direction. And the future's looking bright for them, especially when it comes to the Xbox Scarlet and what they're really trying to accomplish from a technical standpoint. The future is really looking bright for Xbox. I was very impressed by it, especially with the cloud.
That's the thing that Google really didn't understand. Is like Microsoft right now are hedging their bets. I mean, if this cloud thing sucks and it's like, oh, it's too early, guess what? They still have a normal system to fall back on. So this xCloud is just extra, no pun intended. But the cool thing about it, I think it's gonna work, Justin. I think it's gonna work, and I'm excited for them. I'm really excited to see what Sony does as well, because that's the beautiful thing about competition. You know, a lot of the fanboys, this group hates Sony, this group hates Nintendo, hate Microsoft. Well, guess what? When these companies are doing good and are innovating, everybody wins. If Sony does good, Microsoft is like, we got to step it up, and vice versa, etc. So, and who wins at the end when these companies are stepping it up? The consumer wins. And I think that's what's going to happen here. But dude, xCloud, like I said, looks amazing. And I think that, what's funny? They're actually, not that they're caring too much about Google, but I think that they're learning a lot from Google's mistakes as well. So thank you, Google.
Yeah.
Next topic on hand, maybe not as delightful, or maybe it is. Sonic. Sonic movie. We complained about it like 4 shows ago, whatever it was. How terrible it looked. I guess they heard us and others, and they went back and they they redid Sonic, but I kind of feel like they redid some other things too. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. We'll see. But
they didn't redo the script.
Well, no, they didn't. They didn't restart. They didn't remake the movie, but they did a lot. So, Justin, you don't sound too happy. What's your thoughts on this reversion or whatever?
Okay, first of all, the design looks so much better. It looks way, way, way better. It looks just like Sonic Mania, and I think they actually got the lead artist of Sonic Mania to come in and help out do that, which is great. So that means they listen to the fans. So props to them with that. I mean, Sonic, it looks good, and this is like the first time I think this studio actually was like, okay, the fans are gonna not go see this movie if we don't fix the design. Sad part is, a lot of people probably still not gonna see this movie after this design because the movie looks generic as hell. I mean, it's one of those movies. Like, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't judge it. I'm just judging it based off the trailers. But it looks like a movie where it's one of those typical generic, I'm from another world, I'm a fish out of water storylines, I have a human friend. Give me a Sonic game where he's in the Green Hill Zone. There is clips of him in the Green Hill Zone though, so I can't say it's not gonna happen. But if it would have just been more within the Sonic world instead of this real world fish out of water thing, I think I would be impressed. But because they did fix it up, I'm actually gonna buy a ticket and go see this because they did the effort. Yeah.
So those who don't know, a little backstory for people. Justin and I, we talk obviously off air of the show. But when I talked to you, Justin, you weren't too happy about it. But now I'm hearing you're gonna buy a ticket. That's amazing because I feel like they did a damn good job, and I think they deserve the ticket. Dude, not only did they fix Sonic and he looks great, but like you said, they showed the Green Hill Zone. They showed there's a lot of little Easter eggs. I watched a video about the Easter eggs. A ton of Easter eggs in there, which show that they really do care about the fans. So I'm hoping this movie does great. Personally, I'm not personally excited for it, but if I had a son or daughter who wanted to see it, I would definitely take them to see it. I think that we're just probably not the target audience, but I hope it's a great movie. So good props to them, man. On a more serious note, complete 180 here. Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a very serious controversy with the new game. For those who don't know, Highway to Death is one of the segments in the game, but also it is Highway to Death. If you look it up online, it is actually a real life war crime, a real life event from the Gulf War. So for those who don't know, back during the Gulf War, I know we live in America and we think America is just like this angel of a country, but it's not. These soldiers, we love the soldiers, but the soldiers wind up killing around 350 retreating Iraqi troops, and they say civilians within that group, women and children as well. So the U.S., again, these people were retreating, they were surrendering, and the U.S. wound up just mowing these people down, about 300, 350 people. Horrific war crime that happened in the Gulf War. Call of Duty, for some reason, I have no idea why, decided to put this in their game, but instead of making it the U.S. that did it, they blamed Russia. And they said Russia did that. So, Justin, is that okay? Or is this a big, are we making something out of nothing? Is this a big deal, or are we tripping? What's your thoughts, Justin?
One is this: you're putting an actual real life tragedy and you're fictionalizing it. This is like that time they made a Titanic movie, a cartoon animated Titanic movie, and it's an octopus that is the reason why it hit the Titanic.
I didn't even know about that. But
look it up, folks. It's actually real.
That's weird.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is it's kind of been the same thing. First of all, you're not even painting the U.S., who are the actual perpetrators of this. If you're gonna do something like that, then you need to at least keep it authentic. If your marketing is the most realistic Call of Duty, then be realistic. U.S. did something really messed up. Don't switch it out and go, oh, it's actually Russia, we're the good guy. No. We did something dirty, show it if you're really going to include it. Second of all, why are you even including something like this in the first place? I mean, I personally, I don't feel like it's warranted. I don't think there's no reason for it. You could have easily did a scenario very similar that you could fictionalize yourself and put it in. You're actually taking a real life tragedy, an event, and putting it into the game like that. I can't support that one. That's one thing I just don't agree with.
I'm 1,000% with you on this one. No argument from me. It's just disgusting, man. I mean, my thing is like, they could have just called it something else. Like, don't even use that name. You don't even have to change anything about your game. You can say, the developers can say, you know what? We're inspired by this. As a developer, Justin, I'm inspired by all kind of events that happened in the past, but I'm not going to take that name and label and just switch it into something that fits my game or fits the theme I'm trying to recreate. And again, if you are going to do that, then it should be a social commentary about how the U.S. isn't always angels. And if you look at the movie Fury, which I love, one of my favorite World War II movies, they showed the U.S. soldiers raping some of these German civilians, some of the girls, and it showed that, you know what, we're going to tell the story, the real story, and as much as it was uncomfortable to see those things, it was realistic. Like, hey, guess what? Sometimes the U.S., while we are, the good guys in World War II, etc., sometimes we do bad things, and that's okay.
Yeah, and Casualties of War is another good example with Michael J. Fox, where we weren't painted. It's a realistic approach where these soldiers raped some Vietnamese women, and that was the we want. If you're gonna do something like that, be realistic with it. Don't shift blame.
Yeah. To shift to a little bit more fun topic, I guess. 2K, the beloved, beloved 2K, social media was hacked, and it wasn't just like normally hacked, like maybe put up some, repost or something stupid. They put up some crazy stuff. So what's your thoughts on this, Justin? What does it say about 2K that they're constantly being hacked like this?
Okay, first one, the main 2K page wasn't as funny as the WWE 2K20 page, Facebook. The regular 2K page was, who's the guy? I forgot the guy's name. Ronnie 2K. Yeah, his Twitter was hacked, and it was just like, yo, this game sucks, everything else. So I was like, okay, that's a little weird. And then, of course, they dropped the N-word, FNBA, and all this other stuff. That was like, okay, you're hacking something, that's the best you can do is drop the N-word, really? But the WWE 2K, I had to say, I don't support hacking at all, but this must be troll of the year because it was brilliant what they did. Like they put Chris Benoit as the Hall of Fame on the Facebook cover, and then they put AEW all over the page. This was epic trolling at its best. Seriously, 2K, all jokes aside, 2K really needs to up their security, or whoever was in charge. I think, me personally, my theory is there's somebody in-house, because it seemed like it was in-house because there was like something was compromised or something like that. I think it was somebody in 2K who did like probably like a disgruntled employee.
No, I mean, listen. Every company is gonna have disgruntled, employees. But my thing is this: I really feel like the tide is shifting in a gaming industry where we looked at 2K as this beloved company who, they're really there for their fans, etc. Now with this 2K20, it just kind of put the nail in the coffin that like these guys are becoming these corporate suits, like the EAs, like the Activisions, and they just continue with these microtransactions. So I think this is, if I'm 2K, I'm not looking at like, hey, this is a little security hiccup or a disgruntled employee. I'm looking at, man, maybe the people are turning against us now, and that's not a good thing.
I didn't turn against them.
Yeah. Speaking of angry, we got angry developers in this next story. Kojima. For those who don't know, I'm a huge Kojima fan. Look at the first episode of this show. I have a Kojima hoodie on, which I still have in my closet, which I love. Love Kojima. But I'm not with him on this one. Death Stranding came out this month to some mixed reviews. Some people gave it 9s and 10s and nominated for Game of the Year, where others were like, this is stupid. It's a game about delivering packages. It got 4s and 5s and low grades like that. And a lot of those grades were coming from, America. So Kojima came out and said, he feels like he doesn't get why. Well, he gets it, but he feels like Americans like shooting games and other pretty much simple-minded games, pretty much insulting American gamers and critics. Whereas he said in Europe and Japan, they understand art. Does Kojima have a point, Justin, or is he just angry?
This sounds like another one of the Martin Scorsese Marvel type of things where Scorsese was going, Marvel films aren't films, and this is like the game version of that. Like, you don't understand my vision, so therefore you're not smart enough. That's very arrogant, by the way. Second of all, I just want to say this from the previous episode, folks. I was right. I said Shenmue was going to get better received than Death Stranding, and it is. So I definitely was right about that. Well, now back to Kojima. First of all, look, as an artist, not everybody's going to like your work. Second of all, I didn't play the game, but I did watch enough of the walkthrough. It's a side quest. It's basically side quest, the video game. It's you running around, delivering packages, tons of cutscenes. Once again, I'm going to say it again. The guy needs to just do a movie. He has clearly film aspirations. Just drop a movie, bro. I don't agree with this because I hate that pretentious take when people are like, the East people are more smarter than the West because they get this particular art because I'm so complex. Just because something is complex doesn't make it good. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just sad that Kojima, listen, even for me, right? I mean, I have a couple games out, and I have some games where I'm like, okay, I feel like that one connects a little bit more than others. I don't say people, if you don't understand some things about certain games, I don't want to insult people. I just think to myself, I should have articulated that a little bit better, or maybe I should have delivered that, at a different time. At the end of the day, it really is. Justin, it was the first Kojima game that I really didn't buy, and I'm not gonna buy. So, I mean, he'll be right. Hopefully, Kojima, if you're listening, but you're probably not. Hopefully, your next game is a shooter.
Oh no, I heard it's gonna be a horror game.
Okay, I'll take that. But I'm just saying, like, hopefully his next game is something that Americans actually like, not delivering packages. Okay. This topic, Justin, is a doozy. You're a little bit more of an expert on it, so I'm going to let you explain what exactly is going on with Kotaku. Okay. Editor-in-chief got fired. You take it away.
So it all started with Deadspin. Okay, first of all, Kotaku, Deadspin, and a whole network of websites like Gizmodo and all of them were purchased by another corporation. So they put out a mandate. It all starts from Deadspin. So the new owners were telling Deadspin, for those who don't know what Deadspin.com is, it's a sports website. So usually with Deadspin, they were deviating from sports and just doing entertainment and everything else. So these new owners just want them to stick to sports. And they found, that I guess the owners felt that they were getting a little bit too political, which they kind of are. So they were getting too political and everything else. So they put out a memo addressing Kotaku and everybody else to stick to your topics. Stop talking about the election. Stop talking about Trump. Stop talking this, and that. Stop putting your ideologies in your articles. Just stick to the topic. This is what we're paying you for. So what happened was a lot of the Kotaku writers and everybody else, they started, rebelling. And some of them, so they all changed their Twitter profiles to their union and everything else. And they were just like, this is kind of taken away from the free speech and freedom of the press. So it's a whole big, it's quieted down right now, so at the time everybody was like, oh, Kotaku's finished, it's over, because a lot of writers were resigning, they were leaving and everything else in order to protest, but it seems to be calming down right now. But at the time, Kotaku was in danger of being shut down. And a lot of people are leaving because they feel like, okay, you're not, I'm here, I'm a writer, you can't tell me what to write, but technically they can. I'm going to start the clock in a second to give you my point. I'm going to send it to you, and you let me know, what do you think about this? Do you think Kotaku gets too political at times? And just example, I'm going to give examples of the things that I've seen from the website at times, but I'm going to pass it to you.
All right, we'll get the clock started on this. I mean, it's funny. Here's the bottom line. You're an employee of a company. If your boss says, hey guys, let's reel it back in, we're getting in too political, too opinionated about, things that aren't germane to this specific site. Hey, this is what you got. This is the boss. I mean, if you guys don't like it. Now, one of the arguments that they did have that was legit was when they mentioned about how there's, I guess, too many ads, and the ads were interfering with the readers. And okay, so that's something that an editor-in-chief or the journalist can actually have a valid opinion on. And I think at that point, the exec should say, you know what, I defer to these guys on this. But at the end of the day, like, if you don't like it, it sounds sad, but you could go. Yeah. What you think about that, Dustin?
Me personally,
you guys are journalists as well, so
for me, as from the writer standpoint, what I do, I personally think I'm gonna have to side with the corporation on this. Stick to the topic. This is what we're paying you for. Yeah. I mean, if you look at their website, if you look at some of the articles that they write, it's so political, and like I remember there was an article that got huge backlash. Like they said, like a lyrics to Pokemon, or like a Pokemon. Oh, no, was it Persona? I think it was Persona 5. One of the songs, they were like, "Oh, this is offensive." The lyrics is in Japanese, so they were saying, "Oh, it's horrible because it's degrading people with a mental disability, people that suffer from mental disabilities." And it turns out it wasn't true, but they kept hammering him. So they write a lot of hit pieces that's very biased on different political spectrums, and even sometimes with their reviews. The reviews sometimes are horrible because they basically chop down scores based on whether it has representation, or this game only has this much female characters, this only has this much black characters. You can't review like that's not journalism. You can't. A journalist has to be the most centered, keyword centered, not right, not left, the most centered individual, because they have to see both perspectives. I'm going to say that one more time. I'm going to go OT again. A journalist has to be centered because they have to see both viewpoints from the right and the left and make decisions accordingly and write things accordingly from both perspectives that does not choose a side. These websites, and it's just not Kotaku, do not do that. They either go far left or they go far right, and no one's in between. And first of all, no political should be in a game that's not political. Stop looking for games to be a voice of representation. Stop looking for games to teach people a lesson. Oh, this doesn't have a moral lesson. Like, the new Video Game Awards actually has an award category called Most Impact for games that have like social justice, viewpoints. And it's like, what does that have to do with game? Talk about gameplay. Are the graphics good? And this is why YouTubers are so big, and this is why they hate the YouTubers, because the YouTubers focus on gaming. They focus on graphics, music production. This is what people come to reviews for. No one comes to a review to hear this has a lack of female characters. This has a lack of LGBTQ. This has a lack of black people. No one comes to see that. We just want to know, is the game good? Is it worth purchasing?
Fine.
Done.
Yeah.
Stick to your job. That's it. If you can't do that, make your own website where you can critique that. And that's all everybody is saying. So
and call it sjw.com.
I know we're gonna get a lot of heat for this one, but that's the real talk. That's reality.
All right, let's move on before they take us down between this and the Google Stadia disses. So. All right, last topic of the day. It's a fun one. NBA Live. They mentioned that NBA Live 20 will be canceled because, actually, they didn't give a reason. They just said they're going to focus on the next gen NBA games. So pretty much PlayStation 5, Xbox, Scarlet. What's your thoughts on EA just completely giving up on this generation live basketball games? What's your thoughts on that, Justin?
This is going to be most shocking. You know what? I want EA to take time because 2K seriously needs a kick in the ass. I really want NBA Live to come back and revive and succeed, because what 2K is doing now is just straight abuse now at this point. And if EA can take a little bit of the sales, or if EA can actually become a worthy competition, that way they take all this time to really perfect another basketball game that restore the NBA Live name, because that, besides Showdown was my first basketball game, but NBA Live is what the series I continued with. So if NBA Live can restore and give 2K a run for its money, or at least give it some competition that 2K, like, damn, all right, we got to pull back on the microtransaction. We got to go back to stepping up our game, because 2K has gotten very complacent. So the fact that EA is actually taking the L and like, look, how can we improve our IP to start, battling back? Good for them. I respect it.
You know what, though? They just took a break like 10 years ago. Remember, for those who don't know, I did a whole post about Rest in Peace NBA Live on your website.
Yeah.
They already took a break. So here's the thing, Justin. I think right now the name of the game for EA is awareness and market share. And I think that they need to really focus on, again, like I said, those two things, but also repetition. You know what I mean? Get your game out there, practice on it. You know what I'm saying? Improvise, innovate, try different things with different numbers like 20, 21. And by the time the next generation comes out, you have made enough mistakes and you have enough understanding about what the people want. Use NBA Live 20 and 21 as case studies for the next gen. Again, is this going to cost them some money? Yes, it is. But like you mentioned earlier, competition is great for everybody. And Justin, believe it or not, people started to slowly like the old NBA Lives. It was 18 was the one people started to say, hey, man, this isn't a joke anymore. This isn't as bad. They were the first ones to bring the WNBA girls in. They didn't do a good job with it, but nonetheless, if I'm NBA Live, I'm really upset. I think they should have continued. They could have kept trying to do things. And And you know what? Another thing they could have did too was lower their price.
Yeah.
There was a point where 2K, NFL 2K specifically, was really getting killed by Madden in sales. And the 2K team said, you know what? Our games are going to be $20. And the idea wasn't that we're going to just make a boatload of money. The idea was we're going to just create, again, back to market share. We're going to have this game in a lot of people's houses. And when we start to get better, then we're going to charge 60. This is part of the reason why NBA 2K is where it's at right now. Was because, again, that company was able to humble themselves and say, you know what, we're going to charge $20. And again, just build our brand, build our name. So anyway, before we go, Justin, any last words and any cool Black Friday stuff you're looking at?
I'm hopefully going to try to get the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch Lite for Black Friday. Definitely, I'm looking forward to. I had to actually catch up on some games. I had to get Star Wars. I heard it's brilliant, so I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So everybody, for those who don't know, huge Star Wars fan. Definitely check out the Mandalorian, folks. My Star Wars peeps out there. What was the other game? Star Wars. I forgot what else just came out. I actually want to get Need for Speed Heat.
It looks good. It looks really cool. Actually, I was like, wow.
I actually want to get Need for Speed Heat as well. So Star Wars, Need for Speed Heat is definitely on my radar.
Yeah, I just bought Grid, so I don't want to buy another racing game, so I'm gonna wait till Heat goes on sale. But there's some amazing. It's such a good time to be a gamer. There's some amazing sales. The PlayStation Store, their sale just started, so they have some amazing games. Dude, I was talking to this guy online about Resident Evil 2. He was like, "Hey, is it worth it?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Resident Evil 2 is so cheap right now, and it's such an amazing game." But I'm really right now waiting for the eShop sales because, as you know, Nintendo rarely puts their games on sale. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Mario Odyssey. I'm hearing that it's going to be a big sale in America. I'm only caring about digital sales personally. So I'm waiting for more Switch games. But here's a little trick I'll tell people before we leave. The Nintendo Switch is actually being bundled, the regular Switch, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, two things. One, if you want to Switch, that's a cool bundle to get. But then two, there's going to be a lot of digital codes floating around on eBay, Amazon, etc. So watch out for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Watch out for some cheap digital codes in the next couple weeks. So that's my pro tip to people. Whenever a game is digitally bundled with a console, usually the digital cards or numbers that they provide usually go out everywhere. Because again, if you already have the game, right? Why? Let's say you just want a new Switch. Why would you keep it? You would sell it. So, but people, thank you for listening. Appreciate you guys listening and watching. We'll do next month. We'll do our games of the year. Gonna be some controversy with that one, but it's gonna be a great one. So, but
we're gonna definitely talk about one more thing. We are gonna talk about. I think for this one, Keenan, we might have to go over. I think we should go a little overtime for this one because it's gonna be the last episode of the year, and I have to rant on my most disappointing game of the year of 2019.
Oh, we got that. We got that coming too. So, cool. All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all again. Till next time.
Later days.